A lot of our lives is spent waiting in waiting rooms. We sit there, we check our emails, we read magazines and newspapers and articles that we don't want to read. We kill time because we're waiting for something to happen, very often something that's not pleasant. This room is made to look like a doctor's waiting room. I mean, there's no sign, there's nobody telling you to go into the next room. So you kind of have to put the pieces together. If you look around, you see the things that you see in a waiting room. You see the chairs, the umbrella stand, the light, plants, and the clock, which are frozen and artificial. The reflection behind me will not move as this interview continues. I will age, but that light will not move on the wall. And there's a piece here that's talking about death. They're funeral home directors describing their work.
You want to close their mouth, you want to clean out the mouth, put a small amount of cotton underneath the lips so the person looks fuller, looks more lifelike. Usually you want to kind of trim up, neaten the appearance.
It's a very bland process. It's a very bland process. I mean, basically you drain blood out, we put a formaldehyde solution in, which kind of restores the color or texture for the tissue. We close the mouth, we close the eyes.
The stoppage of time, freezing time, is something that we can do metaphorically and poetically in art. Art has always been concerned with what it means to be mortal, what it means to die. And we certainly don't know what happens once you pass the threshold here and enter this kind of dark space beyond. So you're either going into a doctor's office, you're going into the abyss, into limbo, or you're just going to see another movie. In the next room, we're showing a stereoscopic film in 3D. They're using two cameras to look at, to describe what is essentially a fairly dull story. It's an old man who can't sleep. The kind of crazy strings that are stretched out in his domestic space, he's going blind, and so he uses these strings in order to navigate the spaces. He's also haunted by the past, and so the strings have a kind of a poetic or a metaphorical presence in that they help him find his way, but he's also using these strings bumping into figures and phantasms and ghosts from his past. And the 3D filmmaking kind of enhances that.
Zumindest öffentlich. Schwachköpfe. Ich bin ein großer Bewunderer Ihrer Arbeit. All diese Porträts, die Sie aufgenommen haben, unglaublich. Wie viele sind es? 10.000? 100.000?
It's an immersive experience, but it's also a very contrived or artificial or an unreal experience. It feels like, to me, 3D feels like looking into an aquarium. And I like looking into aquariums. There's something magical about that. And the illusion that it creates is, in a way, an ambivalent illusion. It's both real and unreal. It's authentic and uncanny. We're showing August Sander's photographs as the kind of the last room in the show, and that's funny because when you enter this space, you enter an illusion which appears contemporary, and then you pass through another room where a film is showing that describes a historical moment sometime, let's say mid-century in Germany, is filmed using contemporary means, and then at the very last room, you're at the most kind of historical part of this exhibition, and you're seeing photos that were taken at the early part of the 20th century in black and white. They add some resonance to the exhibition. So my work is very often about that kind of encounter that happens between an artist and another person. And in my work, I very often try to make those encounters possible and to ask people about their work.